As the story opens, a curious young man asked the composed MC if he was planning to head to Babel that day, while the MC calmly zipped up his bag, preparing for what lay ahead. With a confident stride, the MC agreed to take the lucrative job, explaining to the others that it paid far better than any ordinary part-time work as the group lingered casually in the hallway. With a surge of determination, the young man slammed the door behind him, his resolved expression etched sharply in the tense shadows. As the tense silence lingered, someone called out's name, prompting the young man to stand alert and focused in the shadow, his serious expression betraying the weight of the moment. A young woman stood assertively in the hallway, demanding to know if the person before her was heading off to a part-time job. In the quiet, sunlit hallway, the tense atmosphere grew as the MC and the girl faced each other in silence, their wary and assertive stances watched closely by the curious students nearby. The MC calmly affirmed the situation and began to walk away, while the girl, shocked by his dismissiveness, urgently called out in an attempt to stop him. In the soft glow of the afternoon, the MC strides away with a resolute detachment, leaving the girl standing in silence as she watches him go, her expression marked by quiet hurt. The girl, visibly annoyed, reacted with frustration as she exclaimed in disbelief at the protagonist's shocking action. Under the clear sky, the main character and several others quietly passed along the city street, each lost in their own thoughts as the world moved calmly around them. Standing firmly in front of the doorway, MC blocked path and told her with a serious tone that she shouldn't go in yet, his protective demeanor underscoring the caution in the air. Lost in thought, the MC looked upward with renewed determination as he acknowledged to himself that his realization was correct. Gazing up at the immense, ancient Tower of Babel rising above the city, the MC was filled with awe and anticipation, contemplating the mysteries that awaited within. Against a backdrop of darkness, the glowing word Babel appears, signaling the emergence of a mysterious new concept. 3 years ago, a massive tower suddenly materialized at the heart of a thriving city, its ominous presence transforming the skyline and drawing the attention of all who witnessed its arrival. The government immediately began an investigation of the tower, dispatching a resolute authority figure who led a group of armored soldiers toward the massive, ominous entrance. They discovered materials unknown to Earth and a wealth of treasures, their eyes widening in wonder at the dazzling collection of glowing artifacts and fantastical objects spread before them. Glowing scientific formulas and molecular structures float in a digital blue space, introducing numerous technologies that should be impossible for modern science. Above all, a sense of foreboding hangs in the darkness, hinting at a crucial revelation yet to come. Modern weapons proved completely ineffective against the savage monsters that rampaged inside, their fiery forms dominating the chaotic scene with an overwhelming sense of menace. At that moment, an ominous presence signaled Babel's appearance. Suddenly, unidentifiable crests began to appear on the bodies of certain individuals, glowing ominously against the dark, patterned background. Those who bore these crests possessed physical abilities, stamina, and durability far superior to those of an ordinary person, as shown by the 3 determined individuals scaling the massive floating rock with remarkable strength and agility amid the swirling energy. The ominous atmosphere deepened, as it became clear that there was even more yet to come. As if they were figures straight out of mythology, they were even granted special abilities as the 3 unleashed legendary powers, filling the scene with swirling lightning, green energy, and blue flames. The government named the mysterious pattern the Sacred Mark after a myth, as an authoritative man stood at a podium, presenting the strange, glowing symbols to a serious and attentive audience. They encouraged those with the Sacred Mark to challenge Babel, setting an ominous tone for what lay ahead. By offering enormous cash rewards, a dazzling display of cash and gold coins under bright light entices everyone with the promise of wealth. Babel attracted many who dreamed of striking it rich, its promise casting a hopeful light even on those standing alone at the threshold of possibility. A great number of marked ones gathered on the cracked ground, their shadowy forms and glowing symbols radiating an ominous, foreboding presence. But while Babel offers such dreams, an undercurrent of foreboding hints at the conflict yet to come. The path ahead is fraught with life-threatening dangers. Monsters strike mercilessly and deadly traps await, sparing no one, not even those marked for survival. Despite the heavy atmosphere, the determined crowd, led by the resolute protagonist and his steadfast companions, advanced together toward the towering challenge of Babel's top floor, driven by a purpose that demanded explanation. It was a rumor that began to spread when the government officially sanctioned the conquering of Babel, casting an ominous shadow over everything. As white feathers drift through a golden, radiant background, the narration foreshadows an epic challenge awaiting whoever conquers Babel. Bathed in brilliant light, the serene, angelic girl proclaimed that anyone present would have any single wish fulfilled. Thus, as chaos and desperate energy erupt around them, the group of determined fighters, including the reluctant yet driven hero, his courageous ally, and a tense companion, launch a desperate assault on the furious monster, clinging to the hope that even a fairy tale might be challenged. Pausing in thoughtful silence, an unspoken tension fills the otherwise empty space. With a calm and secretive air, the hooded young man lowered his head, partially hiding his face in shadow as he quietly admitted his connection to the mysterious group. As a hooded, authoritative man declared with determination that it was time to begin, the foreboding atmosphere intensified around the fractured obelisk, while the cautious MC and his companion moved quietly toward the tent, uncertain of what would unfold next. Suddenly, the urgent MC bursts forcefully into the dimly lit hallway lined with lockers, startling the alarmed man who had been hiding there. Two men spotted the MC standing alone by the lockers and smirking with smug amusement, began loudly mocking him by calling attention to his presence and derisively referring to him as a rat, while the MC endured their ridicule with resigned silence. The young man regarded another's abilities with skepticism, silently concluding that with such limited skills, handling the upper floors would be impossible. In a moment of quiet reflection, someone silently acknowledged the truth, their thoughts echoing in the empty space. MC remembered that he had once been utterly unskilled, barely surviving each day as he crawled through the lowest floors, his weary form now lying exhausted on the ground, while a menacing monster advanced toward him through the flames. A cracked, damaged wall looms ominously in the foreground, its fractured surface foreshadowing an impending disaster. A lone figure in a hoodie, determined and on the verge of change, steps into the dark, ominous doorway, as if everything up to this moment belonged to yesterday. Shrouded in foreboding shadows, the MC stands resolute at the tunnel's gaping entrance, determination etched across his face as he contemplates his next move. Despite the overwhelming size of the monster looming above him, the MC stands his ground, unfazed as he confronts the creature's menacing presence. The young man in the hoodie vented his irritation. Muttering to himself, suddenly the monstrous figure recoils defensively, its glowing red eye brimming with apprehension as the atmosphere grows increasingly ominous. Suddenly, two alarmed green monsters are engulfed in a chaotic swirl of energy from above as they react defensively to the unexpected assault. A large, clawed monster made its menacing entrance, its presence announced by an ominous, echoing cry. With unwavering determination, the hooded MC confronted the towering monster and its menacing goblin entourage, his clenched fists signaling readiness amid the mounting tension. As the MC remains calm at the center, a coordinated group of monsters begins to encircle him, preparing to attack just as they are known to do when calling for reinforcements. A hooded MC stands steely and alert as a horde of red-eyed monsters ambush him, their ferocious forms leaping down in a perilous assault. In the pitch-black void, an unseen figure hesitated, suggesting with a heavy pause that something significant was about to be revealed. Unleashing a massive surge of energy that scattered his opponents, the main character, weary and apathetic, internally admitted that he had grown tired of the entire ordeal. Until just yesterday, the main character recalls, even facing a single goblin would have been a challenge, but now he reflects pensively on how much he has grown. With unwavering determination, the MC thrust his finger forward, initiating a decisive action that radiated intensity through the air. With fierce determination, the MC unleashed a blazing fire attack, leaping through the flames as the intensity of his power surged. With a resolute glare, the protagonist unleashed a surge of fiery energy from his marked hand, commanding the force before him to advance. Suddenly, the MC unleashes a massive, fiery energy attack from above, his fierce determination flooding the scene with explosive light. Suddenly, as the monster unleashed a cataclysmic assault, explosions tore through the battlefield, sending the main character, the girl, and the man flying in a chaotic storm of fear and desperation. Suddenly, a massive explosion erupts in the center of the hall, unleashing chaos as several bodies are hurled outward by the force of the blast. With calm assurance, the MC held out his hand to reveal a glowing red symbol etched into his palm, stating with confidence that this explanation was accurate. In the dim, rocky expanse, the solitary figure approached the massive door, determination etched across his face as the revelation about why he had once been called a rat lingered heavily in the air. As the cloaked figure struggles to rise, reeling from defeat, a sense of astonishment fills the air at the realization that someone so recently made a fool of could accomplish such a remarkable feat. In the darkness, a glowing, ominous light emerges, foreshadowing a revelation as suspense fills the air. Amidst a backdrop of fire and blood, the MC kneels in despair on an elevated surface, watching helplessly as a bloodied, desperate hand reaches up toward him from the chaos below. In a moment of overwhelming panic, the MC is captured in an extreme close-up, screaming in terror as tears stream down his face. Suddenly, a blinding column of golden light bursts forth, crackling with immense energy and sending shards of shattered stone flying in every direction. A sense of foreboding fills the air as an unseen presence hints that something irreversible has already begun. Having regressed 99 times, the determined young man strides forward through swirling energy, his resolve unwavering as he faces his fate once more. At the top floor of Babel, 3 determined humans confronted a fierce monster at the center of a ruined, shadowy arena, each preparing to engage in a tense battle. With fierce determination, the MC lunges forward and strikes the monstrous creature with his blazing spear, igniting an intense clash between hero and beast. As the 98th regression begins, the resolute protagonist and his courageous ally leap through the air, charging with determination and focus at the menacing monster looming before them. A monstrous creature with multiple heads roars furiously, while the protagonist, calm yet resolute, tightens his grip on his sword, readying himself for the imminent battle. With fierce determination, the girl unleashed a powerful sword slash, striking the monstrous creature and leaving it reeling in shock. With determination blazing in her eyes, the girl urgently commanded the others to act at that very moment. As a glowing, intricate red magic circle emanated from his hand and ominous energy swirled around him, the MC, his expression resolute, let out a gasp as he unleashed his mysterious powers. As the MC unleashed a focused magical attack, the monstrous beast recoiled in agony, its tormented roar echoing through the battlefield. With unwavering resolve, the MC unleashed his ultimate move, declaring the name of the devastating bullet as he fired a massive, red energy attack at the monstrous opponent. Suddenly, the monstrous creature with its many heads and wings is violently impaled, blood erupting from its agonized form in a shocking display of force. As a monstrous creature screamed in agony, its body was violently slashed and began to disintegrate in a frenzied display of pain. At the center of the scene, the MC stands with unwavering determination, his hand outstretched to reveal a glowing sigil, while the anxious girl watches him and the distressed man bows in pain or awe before the display of power. With wide eyes and an outstretched, trembling hand, the MC stood amid swirling smoke, amazed as he realized and acknowledged to himself that he had finally succeeded. Overcome with elation, the MC exclaimed that he had truly achieved his goal as both girls, overjoyed, clung to him in celebration of their hard-won victory. With uncontainable ecstasy, the MC announced to his cheering companions that he had finally conquered Babel on his 98th regression, prompting a jubilant celebration among his supportive allies. Despite his exhaustion, the main character reminded himself with anxious determination that he could not afford to lower his guard, remaining tense and alert in the face of lingering danger. Sensing an ongoing threat, the MC remained alert and resolute as he acknowledged that their enemies were still lurking out there, while shadowy hooded figures loomed menacingly behind him, shrouded in ominous purple energy. Someone nearby noticed the young man's anxious, startled look and asked with genuine concern what was troubling him. With determination in her voice, the girl urgently insisted that they couldn't waste any more time and urged the worried MC to hurry up the vast staircase with her. In a light-hearted moment, the MC looked up with a cheerful smile and responded enthusiastically that he was on his way when someone called out to him from off-panel. As the moment grows heavy, the determined MC pushes open the grand, glowing door while his apprehensive companion and tense ally watch in anticipation. 3 characters stared ahead, their faces marked by shock and alarm as they reacted in stunned silence to the sudden, unexpected event unfolding before them. As the 3 companions ascended the grand staircase, MC, amazed, remarked in disbelief that what lay before them was beyond anything he had expected, while his companions gazed in awe at the massive, glowing door towering above them. With a warm, encouraging smile, the supportive woman urged to hurry, while the quietly observant boy watched the interaction from the nearby stairs, his curiosity evident. In the midst of the icy tension, the anxious girl questioned whether they were truly making the right choice, while the determined MC calmly reassured her of his confidence as the quietly observing man looked on. With visible anxiety, the girl reluctantly agreed, her tense demeanor betraying just how uneasy she felt about the situation. With urgent determination, the girl brandished her sword and sprinted past the startled pair, leaving both the MC and the man momentarily frozen in surprise as they watched her decisive advance. With a confident, knowing look, the MC revealed that the reward was granted only to those capable of conquering Babel, hinting at the significance of his achievement. A wish that could grant anything awaited at the top of the glowing staircase, and the narrator insisted that such a reward belonged to. As she gazed up at the starry night with a gentle smile, the girl silently vowed that her own happiness mattered little compared to her determination to protect her precious childhood friend. Standing side by side before the ornate door, calmly reassured the MC that she was ready, while he responded with determination, acknowledging her cue as they prepared to face what awaited them. From behind the intricately decorated doors, 2 hooded, masked figures brandishing staves stepped forward into the swirling mist, their sinister and focused presence casting an ominous shadow over the scene. With a fierce glare and eyes glowing, the MC raised his clenched fist, his intense red aura flaring as he vowed that this time, their enemies would be the last ones to stand in their way. A determined girl blocked the path, raising her hand defensively as she declared with unwavering resolve that no one would get past her. With unwavering resolve, the girl unleashed a swirling vortex of magical energy, exhaling sharply as her devastating attack tore through the ground beneath her. Suddenly, a fierce monster unleashed a flaming, beast-shaped projectile that charged toward the 2 guards, leaving them startled and alarmed. A hooded man, his expression fierce, unleashes a devastating attack by slamming his glowing weapon into the ground, sending shockwaves through the intense scene. Without warning, the furious monster summons a gigantic, glowing golden hand that crashes down with overwhelming force, shattering the ground and sending debris flying in every direction. In a surge of fierce determination, the cloaked MC drives his spear into the massive, glowing monster, unleashing a dramatic explosion of energy that leaves the creature visibly shocked. As the hooded man unleashed a massive spectral serpent, its hissing and roaring filled the air, causing the frightened girl to stumble backward in terror while the monstrous creature emerged with aggressive intent. In that moment, the girl's eyes widened in shock as she gasped, a bead of sweat tracing down her cheek, revealing the intensity of her alarm. Nervous anticipation washed over the girl as she tried to maintain her composure, a bead of sweat betraying her anxiety while glowing particles drifted around her. With urgent determination, the girl spun around and called out for, her voice carrying both resolve and desperation. With unwavering determination, the MC affirmed his resolve as he activated a glowing, ominous red magic circle, unleashing a surge of powerful magic. Standing tall and resolute, MC declared that he would not repeat the same mistakes as before, conjuring a powerful, dark-tinged magic circle as the girl watched with a confident smirk. At the heart of the chaos, the MC stood his ground with unwavering determination, channeling his power into a brilliant magical counterattack that surged toward the two hostile, spear-wielding assailants. With unwavering focus, the MC prepared to unleash his most powerful attack as he called forth the fearsome bullet. In a surge of fierce determination, the MC unleashes a devastating, glowing attack that blasts his shocked opponents high into the air. At last, the long-awaited moment arrived as the cloaked figure was violently struck down, fulfilling the countless dreams of triumph that had played out in the narrator's mind. Smiling with his eyes closed and radiating relief, the MC celebrated his triumph by expressing that he had finally succeeded after a long struggle. With unwavering determination blazing in his eyes, the MC silently vowed that this time he would succeed no matter what. Suddenly, the scene unveils a horrifying sight as a girl's bloodied, lifeless face dangles upside down, shocking the viewer with its ominous intensity. As the mysterious man stood remorselessly above her, the girl, racked with agony, cried out in pain after being struck down by his devastating magical attack. Collapsing to the ground in despair, the MC demanded to know why this was happening, his anguish evident as he clutched his side. With a surge of hope, the MC struck a dramatic pose, his emotions raw as he questioned whether he had finally achieved flawless success this time. Startled, the MC recognized the girl, prompting her to respond with anxious uncertainty as she remained tense and partially hidden in the foreground. With urgent determination, the girl charged straight toward the glowing gate, while the MC, his voice filled with worry, desperately called out for her to wait and tried to stop her. In a shocking turn, the young woman is caught off guard and critically wounded as a glowing sword pierces her mid-motion, leaving her reeling in disbelief. A masked, hooded man stands with unwavering focus as he conjures a glowing magic circle, the air thick with ominous anticipation of the spell he is about to unleash. As blood spilled from her mouth, the gravely injured girl called out weakly for, and her voice trembling with despair as she reached out desperately while collapsing. From the darkness, a monstrous presence began to emerge with blood-streaked claws, letting out a guttural, ominous growl as it revealed its predatory intent. Kneeling in distress, the devastated MC stares in shock at the blood-stained hand reaching out across the growing pool of blood, overwhelmed by the grim aftermath. Overwhelmed by despair, the MC cried out in anguish, his voice trembling as tears streamed down his face. Overwhelmed by devastation, the protagonist internally lamented that, despite 98 attempts, he had once again failed to protect her, his tear-filled eyes reflecting the lifeless form of the girl he could not save. Suddenly, a barrage of glowing magical spears streaks through the air, intensifying the atmosphere as the attack unfolds. As a barrage of glowing projectiles rains down, the MC, quick-thinking and shocked, swiftly dodges the deadly magical assault, his every movement fueled by tense desperation. As the cloaked figure stood over him, the man screamed in agony, impaled by glowing magical spears within the ominous circle, his desperation echoing through the violent scene. In a chilling close-up, the monster's rune-engraved eye flares with a menacing aura as it activates its mysterious and ominous power. Despite the searing pain and the overwhelming energy swirling around him, the MC grimaced and with desperate defiance muttered under his breath that he refused to give in, reaching determinedly toward the glowing red magical seal. Stunned by the sudden appearance of a shadowy figure holding the injured girl, the MC reached out in confusion and fear, barely able to comprehend as he wondered in disbelief how a new enemy could have emerged. Kneeling on the ground and reaching out with desperation, the young man uttered in a trembling voice that he recognized someone before him. At the bottom of the dark staircase, the gravely wounded man, his voice trembling with fear, warned that a new enemy was still lurking. With a tense determination, the MC reached out into the swirling light and shadows, sensing that something ominous awaited beyond. Desperately reaching out toward the ground, the MC, battered and exhausted, struggled to call out to someone, his voice trembling with desperation. With his gaze lowered and face shadowed in a tense close-up, The MC reluctantly agreed, his subdued demeanor betraying a sense of resignation. As he walked alone down the dimly lit corridor, the memory of how he had been killed and taken last time fueled his determination. Each time is ultimately taken by the masked figure, an event that marks the beginning of the world's collapse. It is known that somewhere on her body, there is always a tattoo bearing the ominous mark called the Ankh. The main character walked forward in deep thought, his concern intensifying as he sensed the presence of a new and ominous figure lurking behind him. Despite having experienced this ordeal 98 times, the young man reflected with uncertainty on how much remained unknown to him. Resolutely, the protagonist acknowledged that in order to thwart his adversary's plans, he must first overcome the challenge of clearing Babel. Amidst the chaos of savage monsters locked in furious combat, the calm and focused MC silently observes the brutal scene from above, assessing every move with unwavering attention. With unwavering resolve, the MC focused on activating his magic, determined that clearing Babel faster than anyone else was now his highest priority. With unwavering determination, the MC seized the swirling mass of dark energy, resolute in his intent to prevent from being taken. As the monstrous beast lunged with gaping jaws and ensnared the desperate MC in its swirling tongue, the creature roared furiously that it would stop at nothing for its goal. As a red, ominous glow fills the air, the fierce leader of the monstrous horde leads the charge, shouting threateningly at the adventurers and commanding all of its followers to attack. With a predatory glint in his eyes, the MC raised his glowing, tattooed hand as dark energy swirled ominously around him, declaring that his foes were about to become his nourishment. As the ominous mark glows with unsettling power, the narration reveals that this sacred mark, named gluttony, manifested at the exact moment Babel appeared. At that moment, the MC recalled that, when he first experimented with this power, it could do nothing more than consume any material and expel it again. As the MC hesitantly studied the menacing, floating monster head radiating dark energy, he admitted to himself that it was not an ability he could truly depend on in battle. Up until yesterday, it had seemed the creature was useful only for carrying things, yet now the atmosphere shifted as the MC stood confidently beside the looming monster, demonstrating his control while a defeated figure lay at their feet. Crouched beside the slain monster, the MC gathered the colorful stones left behind, resigned to surviving on whatever scraps others had discarded. The turning point arrived in his first life, when he accidentally wandered into a room, only to be confronted by a terrifying demon with crimson wings that forced him to flee down the hallway in panic. Struggling desperately against the relentless swarm of monsters, the MC fought to defend himself as a ferocious creature with large fangs lunged at him, his determination tested by the overwhelming assault. With fierce determination, the MC unleashed Gluttony's true power in a violent, bloody assault on the monstrous creature, inwardly acknowledging the terrifying extent of this newfound ability. As the main character reaches out with his marked hand, ominous, blood-like energy lashes around him, signaling the moment he realizes that Gluttony possesses the terrifying power to devour even monsters. With unwavering determination, the MC pressed his hand onto the floor, igniting the glowing, fiery sigil and activating the magic circle in a surge of mystical energy. In that moment, MC realized with astonishment that Gluttony's true nature was to gain the abilities of the monsters it consumed, as blazing energy surged around his hand. With a calculated glint in his eye, the MC confidently explained that weakening the monster was the crucial first step of his strategy. Confidently, the MC demonstrated his newfound power by conjuring swirling fire bullets around himself, explaining that this ability was also acquired through gluttony. The protagonist explained that although the original technique was derived from a common rat-type monster found throughout Babel, it transformed into a devastating attack in his hands, though he acknowledged he would need to hunt those rats again after each regression. Standing resolutely amid the swirling mist and scattered debris, the MC completed his crucial task and acknowledged to himself with determination that it was finally done. As the sun set behind him, the determined MC prepared for the final confrontation, realizing that now only one adversary remained. A massive, menacing creature summoned a glowing magical clock sigil overhead, while the calm young man stood resolute, unflinching in the face of this ominous display of power. Sitting tensely against the wall, the MC warily confronted the unseen presence, remarking uneasily that no matter how many times he encountered it, its very existence remained deeply unsettling and left him questioning what it truly was. Facing the defiant MC beneath his ominous glow, the menacing man coldly warned that there was no point in pleading, as he intended to consume him once again. With unwavering determination, the MC vowed to himself that this was the one monster he absolutely had to devour. A mysterious, imposing entity surrounded by a radiant halo of energy reveals its world-altering ability, regression, filling the scene with an ominous sense of power. Kneeling with his hand pressed to the ground and his head bowed in grim reflection, the young man acknowledged that his ability to start over after dying was solely thanks to the mysterious power he possessed. As brilliant magical energy flares around his hand, the protagonist resolutely realizes that everything except his own memories has reverted to the day of the regression. A masked figure with glowing wings hovered commandingly above, revealing that the first of his two lifelines for conquering Babel was now in play, as below, the resolute MC surged upward with a flaming fist to confront him. With determination etched into every stride, the main character sprinted forward, urgency propelling him through this critical moment. In a clash of intense wills, the MC confronts the masked, angelic figure midair, unleashing a torrent of flames from his hand with unwavering determination while his opponent remains eerily unfazed. Meanwhile, the MC stands confident and unfazed, a smirk on his face as fiery energy begins to radiate around him, signaling that he is preparing to unleash his power. With unwavering determination, the MC channels his hidden power and unleashes a swirling torrent of intense fire from his outstretched hand, filling the scene with raw intensity. At the center of a swirling inferno, the masked figure unleashed an overwhelming surge of power, radiating fierce intensity as energy symbols erupted in a forceful explosion. Suddenly, the monstrous claw crashed down with furious force as the lone boy braced himself against the onslaught, his determination unwavering despite being outnumbered. In the dim hallway, the MC looked back at the defeated figure on the ground and gratefully acknowledged that his ally's abilities had made clearing the room far easier. Although the masked figure was slammed forcefully into the fractured ground in a display of utter defeat, the sense lingered that much about the situation remained unclear. As the MC confronted the monstrous creature shrouded in swirling darkness, he reflected with focused resolve that such an encounter could only happen at this exact time and place, noting that he had never met another explorer who even knew of its existence. Wounded and confused, the MC lay on the blood-soaked ground, baffled as he wondered why a godlike power capable of regressing time remained unresponsive even when he directed hostility toward it. Bewildered by the creature's unexpected power, the main character questioned why the monster possessed such an ability. Reflecting on his countless failed attempts, the weary protagonist stands alone on the blood-stained floor, feeling hopeless as he acknowledges that even after 98 regressions, he has found no answers. Relying on such an incomprehensible monster, the male protagonist anxiously examined the ominous, glowing mark on his palm, troubled by the unsettling power it represented. With a confident smirk and clenched fist, the MC gathered his resolve for the upcoming risk, mentally noting that the situation felt as precarious as walking a tightrope. The main character thoughtfully pondered the rules of regression, considering that while dying currently allows him to regress, there might be other conditions yet to be discovered. Both the girl and the man, gravely wounded with swords impaling their bodies, faced the terrifying possibility that there might be unforeseen conditions threatening their survival. The protagonist, standing resolutely at the threshold of the shadowy corridor, reminded himself that this was precisely why he needed to move forward with utmost caution as he prepared to conquer Babel. With unwavering determination, the protagonist mentally prepared himself and advanced, ensuring each step was executed as swiftly and precisely as possible without altering the sequence. The main character, radiating confidence, expressed his trust in another by stating he would be relying on their abilities.